All right, what's up, YouTube? This is Goblin here, Big Gob here, Moist Goblin over there. This is my first recording of a YouTube video. I want to start getting back or going big at YouTube, so expect a lot more videos like this. This is the first one, so I might be a little nervous, might stutter a little bit more. Please forgive me. In these videos, I'll just talk about whatever. Some of these videos will be mostly about Smash. Some of these videos may be maybe about mentality, about other things maybe. I wanted to focus this video actually on mentality and having a mindset to win. And a lot of people think they have a mindset to win. They think they have a winning mindset, or they think they know what they need to work on to fix their gameplay and to improve as a player. But sometimes players like that have a little bit of it, or they think they understand it, but they're completely going down the wrong path. So in this video, basically I'm going to be focusing on talking about how to improve your mindset, what mindset you should be having when going into sets, or honestly, going into anything in life. Most of mindset tips that are applicable towards Smash are applicable towards almost anything in the real world. So the first thing I think I would like to talk about is egos. How you can tell someone has an ego versus someone who is confident in their play is very obvious sometimes. A key thing that I've realized is that people will not watch their sets if they lose or if they fail. So, but players will always watch themselves win. Why is that? It's because they'd rather be more comfortable watching themselves win and watching themselves play good and be proud of themselves and be happy with themselves, instead of watching games and a set of themselves where they might not be playing well, they might have SD'd, or they might have just gone out, played, and lost. And because of that, they don't get to learn as much from the mistakes because they didn't watch themselves lose. They didn't watch themselves make mistakes that a better player exploited or that they just couldn't keep up. If you, let's say for example, you're SDing in a set where you lost, but you didn't SD in a set that you won, there's a lot of side factors and reasons why you probably were SDing in the set that you lost rather than the set that you won. Maybe you were nervous, maybe you respect the opponent too much, or you didn't respect the opponent as much, and that causes you to flub and make more mistakes and raise your nerves. Obviously, nerves are something that can be controlled all the time or can be controlled to 100%. And some players who are way more notable and like better probably trigger a lot of nerves like that more than others. So it makes sense. But players will still not go back and watch those sets and give themselves excuses. Give themselves excuses as to why they lost and basically kind of say like it won't happen again without actually knowing why they lost or what they did wrong. Basically, if you SD'd once and that cost you, let's say that cost you the set because you SD'd once, you still have, let's say the best of 3, you still have 5 other stocks that you had that you didn't SD. So that one SD wasn't the whole reason why you lost. There was definitely a lot of other factors taking place that are why you lost. Another thing that is very common with people who have egos is the word deserve, the word should. Those two words make it very easy to have a cop-out on what the player did wrong. Oh, I should have won the set. Oh, I shouldn't have lost that set. Oh, he should have got that lucky. Lucky also is the third term I'd like to say. Lucky, should, and deserve are the 3 words you want to keep out of your vocabulary when improving in anything in life. If you think you deserve anything during your progress besides outside of factors from your hard work and your dedication, the time you put into anything, then you really don't deserve it. There are people who put less time into something and get more reward, not because they are talented, not because they are lucky, but because in the less time that they're spending, they're working harder with their mentality. If someone spends 12 hours a day practicing Smash, practicing anything, but they have a shitty mindset, in those 12 hours, they're probably going to improve at a rate that someone with a mindset to improve, a mindset to actually be productive and keep tabs of what you need to be working on as a player or literally anything, in probably like an hour, or maybe like 3 hours. But regardless, time isn't a factor on how you can improve. Because it's not about how much time you put into something, it's about how you spend that time. How you spend that time, not just playing or doing things physically, but with your mindset, with your mentality. If you don't have a good mindset, you're just halting yourself forever. And most people think that it's okay to have an ego, or most people think that it's okay to have, let's say, a quote-unquote bad mentality, but it's really not. People who can strive and make accomplishments with a bad mentality are lucky. Those are the people who are lucky. Not the people who worked hard with a good mindset. People with egos also tend to get more mad at themselves when they lose to a player that they shouldn't be losing to, quote unquote, shouldn't be losing to. Versus a player that they have already accepted fate losing to before the set starts. That's the difference between a player who's there to improve and a player who's there with an ego. Players who are there with an ego know who they can beat, or think they know who they can beat, and think they know who they can't beat. And because of that, they gain a huge ego if they make an upset on someone else who they really didn't think they would beat. But then when they lose to someone who they thought they shouldn't be in, or really easily, that's what hit them the hardest. Players shouldn't treat other players differently just because of the skill level. Everyone is bound to improve and get better at anything in life. So if someone who, let's say, hasn't been that good, or you've been beating someone who's quote unquote not that good, and you have this egotistical mindset where you're always just gonna be better than them, you're always just gonna beat them, and then suddenly one day they just put in the work to beat you with a good mindset, then you just lose. You're just not gonna beat them. Because in the long run, they're gonna have a better mindset that's gonna help them win, and you're gonna have a worse mindset that's not gonna do anything else but hold you back. A mindset I like to have is that anyone can beat anyone, and that anyone can lose to anyone. The reason why I think this is because, one, this mentality makes it possible for people who think it's not realistic for them to accomplish goals. You can use the same language for anything, really. For art, anyone could be an artist, anyone could draw good, anyone could be a better artist than you, anyone could be a worse artist than you. But regardless, anyone could do it. And I think people need to start putting that into their brains and stop excluding people who don't think they can hit unrealistic goals. A lot of people who have achieved the things they've achieved when they're one of the best, or most of the best, or one of the best of something, and go into the mindset with, I am never going to beat this person. I can never become a good player. I can never become a good artist. That's not how you improve. People who improve are people who take every little thing they do as a productive step forward into their improvement. If you mess up on one thing, you look at that and you say, okay, how can I not mess up on this? What can I do to fix this? And then you move on from it. And then that's how you move on. Players with egos, players who don't have that mindset, will struggle with the same thing over and over again because they think that they're the best. They think they deserve to win. So when people think they deserve to win, they don't feel like they need to change their gameplay. They don't feel like they need to change anything about them, because when they lose, they just got lucky. They got unlucky. They SD'd maybe, or they played bad, and that's their excuses. A common misconception in Ultimate is matchup experience and knowing every matchup or not knowing every matchup, because there's so many characters in the game. But the game has been out for over 3 years. Actually, yeah, the game's been out for over 3 years. 3 years and 3 months. If you can take the time out of those 1,000 plus days to practice at all the matchups in the game, then the only person who should be upset is yourself. There's a lot of resources in this game as well that can give practice to every character. So the fact that people can still complain about characters that have been out for almost 2 years is very egotistical, and it gives them an excuse to be mad at something. For example, in a recent event, Glitch Infinite Jake the Steve player, a character that's commonly hated by most of the roster, or most of the community, got third, which was very unsuspected by Jake, and hasn't been done by any Steve player before. And while I was watching this tournament, and while I was watching top 8, Jake beat everyone, I noticed that people don't understand the Steve matchup as well as they should. Which provoked the community, and not just the community, but the players who Jake had also beaten, to complain about Steve and say things such as banning Steve, a character with a lot of counterplay who doesn't need to be banned. Because of that, people are disregarding the mistakes that players have made and disregarding the bad options that they've chosen, and making an excuse that Steve is a broken character. And we can do one of two things: we can either ban Steve, or we can just keep complaining about Steve. And those are the only two options that the community gives themselves, and that players who don't like taking responsibility for the mistakes they made in a set will say. I think it's good that everyone moves forward with a positive mindset, a mindset to improve, a mindset to work towards a better you or towards a better player. The reason why I don't think anyone should give up anything in life ever, even if it's something small or something big, is because it provokes you to, or promotes you to make more decisions of giving up. And it makes it easier for you to give up, because at the end of the day, you already give up so much that nothing is a big deal for you anymore. And if you can give up in one thing, then you can probably give up in another thing. And it just promotes a giving up mentality that you don't want to develop. If you dedicate an hour of your day into becoming a better artist, into learning how to draw, and you don't see improvement from the first hour, and your first choice is to give up, then that doesn't sound right. We live in a world where there's so many resources to improve in so many things, such as drawing, where you can look at a little YouTube video and practice how to draw, where you can look up Smash content and figure out how to beat a character based off a top player's actions, or top player's results, or whatever they say. That there's no reason to give up in the first hour or in the 10th hour. But if you've already invested so much time that you're already in the 10th hour, why would you give up? If you wanted to be an artist, if your brain told you that you wanted to be better at drawing, be a better artist, and you spent 10 hours and then you gave up, giving up then is going to haunt you forever, because you're just going to think, wow, what if I didn't give up? What if I actually kept pushing forward and decided that it'd be a good idea to just keep pushing forward and accomplish my dream, accomplish my goal? Whether it was to be a hobby or an occupation, get better at drawing, to do commissions or whatever, or to be proud of your accomplishments. Giving up just promotes a bad mental for other things that you might not want to give up for. Taking breaks and going back to things later is never a bad idea. If you can take an hour break after fucking up for 10 hours or feeling like you aren't improving in your 10 hours, you take a break, take a breather, reset yourself, reset your mental. You don't want to develop your brain to constantly mess up over and over again and then not take breaks, because then at that point you're forcing yourself, and at that point forcing yourself is almost as bad as just giving up, because if you force yourself, then you start not thinking, you start autopiloting on mistakes that you shouldn't be making. And this goes with mostly anything, honestly. Trying to have the best mental possible when doing anything is ideal. Just because you don't have the mental to quit doesn't mean you don't have the mental to burn out, or it doesn't mean you don't have the mental to not burn out and to not reset yourself, take a breather, and realize where you went wrong. Things improve with experience and time. If you can see yourself not making any progress in 10 hours, then it's a good idea to take a break, review what you've been doing, see where you've been going wrong, what you don't feel comfortable doing, and then research what you've been doing wrong, and then focus on it. If you mess up something over and over again, and your first mistake is to just go, I give up, I can't do this, then you're not going to accomplish a lot of things in life, because you're going to consistently give up. And you're going to consistently halt yourself from improving in aspects where if you just put maybe a little bit more time, or if you just had a different mindset, you would be improving, and it wouldn't be a problem for you at all. The last thing I'd want us to remember or the last thing I want to remind everyone and say to everyone and make sure everyone knows is time is something that you'll never get back. You can get back money, you can get a run back, but you're never getting your time back. So if you spend 10 hours doing something and after constant failure and after consistent failure, you decide to give up, you just wasted 10 hours of something that you could have developed into so much more. And yeah, you're not going to be, the argument could be you're not putting in more time to keep messing up. But if you have that mindset as well, then most of the time you're not going to be proving things that you want to be improving on. I think this is it for this video. My first YouTube recording video. Let me know if you have any advice, any feedback in the comments down below. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube. If you like my content, would really appreciate a subscription. And thank you so much. I'm going to be planning on doing a lot more of these, so I hope you guys enjoy this one. Thank you.